Dr. Brennan, your thoughts about Tulsi Gabbard?
Well, Nicole, I think you and Tom Nichols have done a great job just underscoring all the concerns that people have about this appointment. Clearly, Tulsi Gabbard has taken actions, made statements over the past several years that really raise serious questions about her common sense, her judgment, as well as her political sympathies. Cozying up to Putin as well as to meeting with Bashar Assad, I think really does show that she doesn't have the type of perspective that is needed for somebody who's going to head up these 18 intelligence agencies. And as Tom Nichols said, she doesn't have any qualifications. The Director of National Intelligence, that's a really serious position and a very complex and complicated one that requires somebody who actually has an understanding of the intelligence community. It's like an orchestra conductor of all the different agencies and departments that are involved in the intelligence process. And I don't think she understands even the instruments that are involved in this orchestra, nor has she had any experience at the strategic level of running and leading a large, complex organization. And the Director of National Intelligence is, according to legislation, the president's principal intelligence advisor, the person who is responsible for making sure that the president's daily brief is put together in a very sound and forthright manner, the person who puts together the budget and the priorities of the intelligence community. So I know that this appointment is sending shockwaves here in the United States, but also around the globe in terms of, is this really somebody who Donald Trump is going to entrust with the care and the leadership of the intelligence community?
Joining me here at Courageous Media, you just saw Brennan going off on Tulsi Gabbard before her appointment as the Director of National Intelligence several months ago, right after President Trump's election, but before the inauguration and before she was actually confirmed. Well, we can see now where Brennan's fear lied. It had nothing to do with the fact that Tulsi was unqualified in his eyes. It had nothing to do with the fact that she hadn't been a spook her whole life. No, it had everything to do with the fact that she was forthright and honest. In the words of one director of operations of the CIA, a fake one, in Clear and Present Danger, she was a Boy Scout, or in this case, a Girl Scout. And Brennan knew that if she got in that position, she was not going to sit idly by and allow the cover-up of one of the greatest scandals in U.S. history to continue. No, John Brennan was terrified not of Tulsi Gabbard's experience or lack of experience or anything thereof. He was terrified that she was not a deep state stooge like he was. He was terrified that she was not in the back pockets of the Democrat Party or the globalist cabal of corruptocrats like he was. She was not sold out to destroy America, the American Republic, and the American government like he was. Now, Brennan is an absolute snake, an operative. He's been nothing but that, I believe, his entire career. Now, maybe when he was first in the CIA or a first operative, maybe not. But what he has become is nothing less than an absolute viper. One that hates America, one that hates Trump, one that hates the Republican Party, one that hates all Americans. No, he is sold out to a different master. And Tulsi Gabbard is now exposing all these people for exactly who they are. It is beautiful to see. It is absolutely fantastic. So we've got big news today because there's been another drop of more classified information. And this one takes a really surprising turn. Before we get into that, welcome in everybody. Glenn and Shannon, Salty Life, first in the house. Mr. C's here. Barry Sanchez, thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate everybody rolling up. Please smash that like button, turn on the notifications. If you've already subscribed to our channel, please go check your notifications because we got a lot of reports of YouTube turning those off so you don't know when we post new content. But please do that. Also comment. Let us know you're here in the comments. Let us know how we're doing so that we can bust out of this YouTube box, the algorithm box that we are in, as begin to rebuild our channel so that we can have an impact on America moving forward. Thanks so much for being here. Let's dive right in to the newest release of docs from Tulsi Gabbard.
Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley is out with a new batch of documents pertaining to the Trump-Russia investigation. And the newly declassified documents were allegedly held in burn bags in a secret room at FBI headquarters. Those would be containers that hold classified docs meant to be destroyed after a specified time. It's 29 pages, an annex or addendum to the 2023 Durham report, exposing a report.
Now let's stop right there. Let's get into this burn bag situation, because that has been one of the big conspiracies not conspiracy. That's one of the big parts of the bombshell report that's been rolling around the internet today. The fact that all these docs, of which most of them do not have a duplicate, were slated for destruction. Now there's two questions to ask. One, why weren't they already destroyed? Why were they slated for destruction? In other words, why were they not going to be preserved? If the FBI was under no wrongdoing in this entire conspiracy, why destroy them at all? No. What this smacks of, I think, is two things. One, these documents were supposed to be destroyed because it was part of the cover-up, so that no one would ever know what the Obama administration, along with the Clinton campaign, along with their willing treasonous accomplices in Brennan as director of national intelligence, Clapper in the CIA, Comey in the FBI, and others did to undermine the U.S. Republic, the U.S. government, and the incoming Trump administration. Now, these were supposed to be destroyed. So there's two elements of quote unquote conspiracy or bombshell here. One, that they were supposed to be destroyed. Two, that they were not. Because realize what normally happens with a burn bag is that when you are done with your classified material, you put your copy or your classified material in a burn bag. It is then walked to an incinerator by armed security to make sure that it is gone. They're not left around, but these were found in a hidden away skiff in an annex in the FBI. Now, a skiff, for those of you who don't know, is a secure compartmented information facility. In other words, it's essentially walled off. It's a room. It's a facility that is walled off from the outside world. It is locked. It is secure. There are no cameras. There is no internet. There is nothing. That room is completely sheltered from any type of electronic surveillance. Now, these things were stored ostensibly. I think there's two potential stories to this. One, somebody that they were slated to be destroyed, and just through the incompetence, I believe the God-willed incompetence of people in the FBI that were supposed to destroy them, they got left behind. Or this could be the work of actual America-loving whistleblowers that said, hey, they're trying to destroy this stuff. We got to hide it. And they just snuck it away, put it in a skiff, and thankfully, no one ever found it until now. But we've got these documents being released that once again point the finger squarely at Obama and Clinton and Brennan and Clapper and Comey.
Clinton campaign plot to falsely tie President Trump to Russia. Here's Chairman Grassley.
I think we need maximum transparency on all the schemes that were going on 10 years ago to either stop Trump from being elected, or after he was elected, to ruin his presidency. And that's what this Durham report is all about. It was all effort of total distraction, and to make it look like Russia was playing a very major role in helping Trump to be elected. And now we know none of that was true. And now with this Durham report annex out, it finally proves that the FBI was covering up.
Look, the story started breaking right before those comments, so those were Grassley's first reactions to this less than an hour ago. Justice correspondent David Spunt. Now, David.
Well, hi, Harris. Special counsel John Durham's investigation into the origins of the Trump-Russia narrative began in 2019, ended 4 years later in 2023. Now, he took two people to trial, lost both times, but he did, Harris, secure a plea deal with a former FBI lawyer. Durham's final report, a 300-page document. Here he is in 2023.
Our findings were sobering. I can tell you, having spent 40 years plus as a federal prosecutor, they were particularly sobering to me.
Now, for the first time, we're seeing this class.
Now, I will say that a lot of this information is a big black eye to Durham. What the hell were you doing as special counsel all this time? You brought two minor, indictments, and you lost both of them. Now, the losing part I understand, because you're actually trying to try these things inside of the Biden Justice Department, which was hardly ever going to let anything go forward. But as special counsel, you had all this information at your fingertips. You shouldn't have just issued a report and moved on. You should have been on every major news channel talking to the American people about the fact that this scandalous, treasonous, seditious conspiracy had taken place and who was behind it. And when you weren't allowed to prosecute everybody, you should have been on the news channel saying, I need to bring indictments, bring the indictments, and then say, I can't convict because of the Biden justice system covering this up and actually enabling the criminals. Where were you, Durham? Wow.
Declassified now annex. It's 29 pages. It discusses more allegations and information about the Clinton campaign's alleged efforts to discredit then candidate Trump. Durham obtained emails via Russian intelligence, and the emails were allegedly written by a man named Leonard with the Open Society Foundation. That's the foundation tied to George Soros. According to the annex, Leonard writes about a Clinton campaign advisor named Julianne. She's also referred to by Julie and Julia. One of the emails says, Julie says it will be a long-term affair to demonize Putin and Trump. Now it is good for a post-convention bounce. Later, the FBI will put more oil into the fire. In another email obtained by Durham, Leonard allegedly wrote, HRC, meaning Hillary Rodham Clinton, approved Julia's idea about Trump and Russian hackers hampering U.S. elections. That should distract people from her own missing email, especially if the affair goes to the Olympic level. Now, Mr. Durham interviewed Julie, who told him that she didn't draft.
So you've got concrete proof that this was a premeditated, pre-orchestrated hoax, one that is treasonous and seditious, one that was designed to cover up Hillary Clinton's own bountiful crimes, massive crimes, her massive mishandling of classified information that should have landed her in prison for years, and then used to completely derail a U.S. sitting president. These people all need to end up in prison. And we're going to get to that in a minute.
After recall receiving any of these Leonard emails, the annex goes on to explain that the FBI was fully alerted to the possibility that at least some of the information it received about the Trump campaign might have origins with the Clinton campaign or Russian disinformation. But the FBI apparently dismissed that information, quote, as not credible without any investigative steps actually having been taken to either corroborate.
So the FBI basically moved to cover it all up. Now we've come to further information. As it turns out, how a lot of these emails came to be was it was not the Russians who hacked the Hillary Clinton server, as CrowdStrike and others have said. No. That was probably an inside job. No, what the Russians were able to do was they hacked a couple of people close to Hillary Clinton that uncovered these emails. Now the Russians did not give these emails away. They didn't let anybody know. No, the fact was there were two spies from the Netherlands who were spying on the Russian spies. And when the Russian spies hacked the emails of these two, adjacent operatives, the Netherlands spies became aware of it and they reported it to the Obama administration, who promptly did nothing, who promptly turned it over to the FBI, who said, oh, nothing to see here because we can't prosecute Hillary for her ridiculous treatment of classified information. Oh, and we're trying to destroy the Trump presidency at the same time. Now, Tulsi Gabbard weighed in on all of this. She was on the Glenn Beck program. She has a lot of very interesting things to say. Let's dive right into that before we check in with Megyn Kelly. As we do, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know how we're doing. Bob, you are absolutely correct. All of the major media are out there right now trying to cover their ass, trying to say, trying to demonize everybody involved and say they weren't wrong. But here we go.
And what is still yet to come. As I look at the stuff that has, in the declassified documents of Russiagate, it confirms what many of us have already known. Are you surprised at anything at the media not reporting any of this? I mean, we've known a lot of this, but now the media is absolutely silent on it. And people seem to be deleting posts and no longer commenting online. What's happening?
Yes. I am not surprised that the mainstream media is refusing to cover this. And if they do mention it, their approach is to try to diminish the effect and the impact of the revelations, the historic revelations that were found in the documents that we declassified and released, or to try to bring voice to detractors and critics who also just say, oh, well, this is bizarre or this is crazy. But when you actually look at the coverage and you look at some of the comments and the quotes that the mainstream media may be choosing to publish or highlight, they're not actually getting after the very specific pieces of evidence that were released that quote people like John Brennan, who was the CIA director, and James Clapper, who was Obama's director of national intelligence. They are not giving voice to the intelligence professionals who, in these reports that we released, were protesting against the very malicious actions that people like Brennan and Clapper were taking at President Obama's direction to create this intelligence assessment that was filled with falsehoods. They're not giving voice to these intelligence professionals because they recognize that it would push forward a very inconvenient truth for the mainstream media because it exposes their complicity in pushing this lie and this hoax from not only day one, but throughout President Trump's entire first administration.
And all of these people are still, I mean, Brennan, Clapper, they have been the source on so many things, and they're in with the media. And I wonder if this is just part of more of the same, that they're asking them, is there anything to this? And they say, no, there's not. In fact, it's a whatever. And then I also wonder.
Of course, that's what Brennan and Clapper and Comey and all of them are doing. It's the same playbook they ran when they first instituted this treasonous, seditious hoax. Oh, no, nothing to see here. There's nothing going on. No, absolutely ridiculous. No, absolutely. Trump is a Putin agent. Trump is a Russian agent. Trump is astute. All of that. Then they moved on when it was clear that that was only going to derail Trump for a couple of years, 22 months or so. When it was clear that even by putting Mueller, that ridiculous puppet, in as special counsel, there was nothing to find, and that they couldn't credibly manufacture it at that point, not new stuff, because Trump was in the White House and he had too many people lurking around the halls of government. So they couldn't do that. So then they turned to getting Vindman to basically leak a classified phone call, which he should have gone to prison for. That was absolutely nothing. And then using their surrogates of the media to somehow say this was a quid pro quo when you've got Biden literally on video saying quid pro quo against the Ukrainians. Then we go from there to the 51 intelligence assets who say that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation, which it was not. Then we have all of the same people promoting all of the lawfare against Trump, the Mar-a-Lago raid, trying to get the Crossfire Hurricane Russia hoax documents that they thought were there, but that Trump had sequestered away. All of this is an ongoing criminal, treasonous conspiracy, and it's by the same people. Now, Megyn Kelly, who's been quite outspoken about this, but she used some words today that are even extreme for her. Check this out from known, reputable investigative journalist Megyn Kelly on this whole thing. Check this out.
Should be in jail.
Let's back that up.
This woman should be in jail.
Talking about Hillary Clinton. Let's say that one more time. One more time. 3 is the charm.
This woman should be in jail. Literally, Hillary Clinton should be behind bars. And so should the people who worked for her who did this. This is so blatantly corrupt.
That means Clinton. That means Podesta. That means all of Fusion GPS. That means Brennan, Clapper, Comey, Strzok, Page, all of them.
She wanted to distract from her email scandal. she cooked up a plan to accuse Trump of being a Russian agent in order to distract from her own legitimate scandal. She made up a scandal about Trump being a Russian asset. And they banked on the intel agencies working with her to perpetuate this lie, and it appears they were only too happy to assist. That's what this scandal's about. Pieces of it we knew. New pieces are coming in by the day thanks to these declassifications. And it's downright shocking. Do not believe that there's no there there. The people who are saying that are wrong. They're wrong. What just broke today, like moments before we came to air, we're still getting our arms around it, was obviously provided to Michael Schellenberger before 2 minutes ago. And his Substack page, Public, that's the name of it, has a fantastic breakdown of what's in this new piece of information, the annex to the Durham report. You remember John Durham was the special counsel appointed.
The biggest thing that I've seen, now go check out Schellenberger's Substack's got a lot of good information there. But the biggest thing is what I showed you that clip earlier, was the emails within the members of the treasonous conspiracy that prove it was premeditated and pre-orchestrated. This was not a mistake. It was not an oops. They planned this from the get-go, and Obama was in on it. Brennan and Clapper were in on it. Clinton was in on it. That's, I think, the biggest smoking gun to go along with the December 9th meeting that we now have essentially the meeting minutes of because of Tulsi Gabbard that show that Obama said, no. This intelligence community assessment is not going to work. Go make a new one that says Trump's complicit and that he colluded. This stuff is absolutely amazing, and it has to get out. And Bernadette, I agree with you on one sense and I disagree on another. Yes, if the media will continue their denials, 100%, but they will not all win. You will have diehard Democrats who will never, ever believe anything. We're not going after them. We're never going to convince the diehard globalist Democrat anti-American ideologues. They will invent reality out of whole cloth to support their deluded ideology. No. We're going after the broad swath of independents in the middle and the right-leaning quasi-conservative Democrats that are still out there, the working class, the union guys, those people. That's who we're going after. That's who we need to convince. And the fact of the matter is, the media has gotten so distrusted now. Only 20% of the people even watch them. That's why it's so important for channels like this, for channels like Megyn Kelly, for The Blaze, for Glenn Beck, for all of them. The more we report on this, the more we get this out there into the ether, into the media landscape, the news landscape, the more people will hear it, the more people will start paying attention, and the more we will draw that one segment that we need. We'll never get the hard left. They're communists. They hate America. They want to destroy the West. They're all in with the Islamo-fascist, socialist, communist, globalist cesspool ideology. You're never going to get them. No. We want the middle of the road, the independents, the centrists. We get them, the Republicans and the MAGA movement will win elections for decades. That's what we need. So please share this with everybody that you know. Like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with everybody that you know. If you like this content, please consider joining us as a member of the Courageous Army to support the show. All right, we got 2 more segments. You're going to love this stuff. We've got Democrat infighting. This is absolutely amazing. While Trump is winning, while Tulsi Gabbard is absolutely gutting previous Democrats, the current Democrats are in 100% meltdown mode against each other. This is absolutely classic. Check this stuff out. This is awesome.
Jasmine Crockett criticized fellow Democrats AOC and Bernie Sanders for their Fighting Oligarchy tour, claiming they're focusing on self-promotion rather than on the team. Crockett is the voice of reason calling out their BS. That's like having your drunk uncle be the responsible one at New Year's. During their Fighting Oligarchy tour, AOC has managed to bring in $9.6 million in campaign contributions compared to $4.4 million she brought in back in 2020, and Bernie Sanders has hauled in about $11.5 million. So their tour against rich people made them $20 million. Bernie and AOC fighting oligarchy is like TikTok launching a campaign to fight short attention spans.
Absolutely. Hey, you know, we had a big problem with drinking. Put your drunk uncle in as the designated driver. That'll work. Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster. But I love the fact that you've now got, it's no longer the centrists versus the far left. That's what we've had, a Democrat civil war essentially going on for the last 6 months, ever since Trump was inaugurated. Really ever since he was elected, but it really intensified since inauguration. But most of that was essentially establishment Democrats starting to lean, I wouldn't say the leaning right, but they're leaning toward the middle, or they're going back to their centrist Democrats roots when Democrats were, you know, real red-blooded Americans 50 years ago. And so you've got the Bill Maher's of the world, you've got the Chris Cuomo's of the world that sound a lot more conservative now, only because the rest of the Democrat Party has skewed Islamo-fascist communist, woke nonsense. And so you've got Bill Maher calling them out. You've got Cuomo calling them out. You've got other people calling out the woke nonsense and the ultra left. That's been happening for a while. But now what you've got is you've got the far left calling out the far left. You've got Jasmine Crotchety Crockett going after AOC and Bernie. This is great stuff. Now you've got the far left actually in a civil war meltdown. This is excellent. Now, check this out, because Jasmine Crockett has been all over the news, not in a great way. All right, oops. So here's Jasmine Crockett. Here's the article. She blasts Bernie Sanders. Basically just absolute nonsense about the fact that they raised $20 million in a Fight the Oligarchy tour. Yes, these were the same people that traveled around on private jets. No, they didn't fly commercial. Heck no. No, they got on private jets. They polluted the environment. They destroyed the earth with their greenhouse gases in their big, luxurious private jets as they flew around from event to event, snatching money from polite little old grandmas and poor people who came out to see the Fight the Oligarchy tour, only to find out that the Fight the Oligarchy tour was in the belly of the communist oligarchy. That's right. Bernie and AOC were raking in millions from these people. Talk about the outrage at the fake Christian televangelists who get on TV and tell poor people, if you want money, give it to me, and somehow you'll get it. It's the same tired, corrupt playbook. AOC and Bernie running around the country saying, we're fighting the oligarchy. Fight the millionaires and the billionaires. Give us your money so we can fight the millionaires and the billionaires. Oh, never mind the fact that we are millionaires and billionaires. It's absolutely nuts. Now, so we've got that going on. Meanwhile, you've got Cory Booker. Cory Booker, who was called out by members of his own party for his nonsense, got on the Senate floor, and this is what he had to say in his wonderfully eloquent manner. Here we go. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know how we're doing.
The Democratic Party needs a wake-up call. I see law firms bending a knee to this president, not caring about the larger principles, that those free speech rights, that you could take on any client, why are you bending the knee? I see universities that should be bastions of free speech bending at the knee to this president. I see businesses.
You mean the same universities that censored and derided and shut up conservative speech anti-woke speech, anything that was not gender affirming, that shut up the people who said the vaccine won't work, that said that COVID was a basically a government power grab. You mean those same universities that had no problems, you have no problem when they were censoring your political adversaries. Oh, that side of censorship is okay.
Taking late night talk show hosts off the air because they dare to insult a president. I see people who want mergers suddenly think that they have to pay tribute to this president. And what are the very people here elected to defend the Constitution of the United States saying, oh, well, today, let's look the other way and pass some resources that won't go to Connecticut, that won't go to Illinois, that won't go to New York, that will go to the states he likes. That is complicity with an authoritarian leader who is trashing our Constitution. It's time for Democrats to have a backbone. It's time for us to fight. It's time for us to draw lines. And when it comes to the safety of my state being denied these grants, that's why I'm standing here. Don't question my integrity. Don't question my motives. I'm standing for Jersey. I am standing for my...
Cory Booker has no integrity. Cory Booker has no motives other than his own self-aggrandizement, his own enrichment, and the destruction of the country that allows him a platform to get rich. Cory Booker is disgusting. Frankly, the one thing that Cory Booker needs to do is draw a line 3 feet from the buffet and say no, because Cory's clearly gaining some weight.
My police officers, I'm standing for the Constitution, and I'm standing for what's right. And dear God, if you want to come at me that way, you're going to have to take it up with me, because there's too much on the line right now in America. As people's due process rights and freedom of the speech rights and secret police are running around this country.
Secret police, yes. Yeah, we got secret police running around the country. This guy is an absolute clown show. I mean, he's the entire, you remember the old skits? How many people can you stick? How many clowns can you put in a car? And they just keep coming out from everywhere. That's because the car had a space underneath it, right? And people just kept coming out, clowns everywhere. He is the whole damn clown car. He's every single one of them.
Picking people up off the streets who have a legal right to be here. There's too much going on in this country. When are we going to stand together for principles that I just heard that were agreed with? When are we going to stand together?
We are. We're standing together right now for the principles of law and order, for the principles of the U.S. Constitution, for the principles that, guess what? You cannot invade this country. You cannot be here illegally. You're not allowed. You are illegal. Hence the word. Cory, this guy is a complete meltdown. And I love it. I love the fact that he got some comments from his own party that caused this meltdown. And you're right, William, I believe he is trying to run for president. Reppins 12, Cory, the dollar store Obama. Now, he's got some competition in Hakeem because the two of them get constantly referred to as dollar store Obama, Temu Obama, dime store Obama, Walmart Obama. I mean, because both of them are just complete and utter clown shows. They do not have Obama's ability to speak publicly or his charisma. They're just trying to trade solely on their skin color and the fact that they're just far woke leftist nutcases. Now, the problem with the Democrat Party and the reason they're infighting is because they have no platform, that none that anybody wants. They continually stand with the 20% on 80-20 issues. They constantly lobby for the criminal illegal. They constantly lobby for the liars. They constantly lobby for government fraud, waste, and abuse. They want it. And it's because that is why the Democrats are failing. And that is why they've got all this infighting. Check this out, because they are rudderless, leaderless, idealist. Check this out. From he still is a Democrat donor, a Democrat bigwig, kind of former now, because he's looking at the party going, I don't recognize these people.
Look, we also obviously have a ton of problems, right? I mean, you talked about this earlier on. We have no agenda whatsoever. Like, if we were to get power, I couldn't tell you what we want to do. We are getting our butts kicked raising money. The RNC this past month has $83 million on hand. We have 13 million. The outside groups, we're spending money, 20 million to understand men. I don't know how many autopsies we have on one dead body. Republicans are stocking money. The worst thing is, Jesse, on voter registration, which Trump surged last year in 2023, 2024, it used to be our bread and butter, right? This is what we did. We're now lagging behind in all these swing states. If we can't raise money and we can't register new voters, we're going to have a big problem. Look,
they're going to have a huge problem because Scotty Pressler and Turning Point Action are literally, pardon the pun, turning the Democrat Party on its head. Scotty Pressler almost single-handedly re-registered Pennsylvania red. He erased over the last 2 to 3 years a $600,000 or 600,000 voter registration deficit from Republican to Democrat. He's completely erased it. He's doing the same thing now in New Jersey. He's doing it in other parts of the country like Arizona. He's absolutely going after the voter registrations, knowing that statistically, people vote their voter registration something like 70% of the time. So the more registrations you can get, the more likely people are to vote, and the more likely they are to vote with their registration. Now, I got one more clip because again, it's all about the Dems absolutely melting down, destroying each other because they have no agenda, they have no leader, and really it comes back to when you go even a level deeper, they have no principles. They have existed for decades now, strictly on we want money, we want power, and we're willing to destroy America and Americans to get it. And the Americans have woken up to the scam. Check this out.
If you're a Democrat right now looking at this infighting, you don't know who they are. You don't know what they stand for. You don't know if they want to just completely destroy democracy and become communists. Look at the leadership. Bernie Sanders, AOC, this guy in New York City. This is a disaster for Democrats, and I'm not sure they're going to figure it out because even the leadership, Jeffries, I don't even think he knows right now what message connects with his base. And if you don't know your base, how do you win an election?
Frankly, the message that connects with the base, what used to be the Democrat base, the union worker, the small business guy, those people, it's the MAGA message. The Democrat message does not resonate because no one wants woke crap. No one wants foreign wars. No one wants hundreds of billions of dollars going overseas. No one wants trade deficits. Nobody wants the outsourcing of U.S. jobs. Nobody wants trillions in fraud, waste, and abuse going to elites, being laundered, U.S. taxpayer money being laundered. Nobody wants that. But that's what that's the only thing the Democrats stand for. So you got the Democrats infighting, you got Trump winning on every level, and we're going to dive right into that with our last segment. Check this out.
Give us a recession, and instead we're seeing the exact opposite. Right. Well, I think that the headline today is that we had one of the better GDP releases that we've ever seen. It was absolutely in the sweet spot of what you want to see. There was really high income growth. There was 3% GDP growth. And inflation, core inflation, CPI dropped all the way down to 2.1%, which is just what the Fed's target is. And so all that's happening while we've got $170 billion flowing in tariff revenue, which everybody said was going to make inflation take off and give us a recession. And instead, we're seeing the exact opposite. And so it's a really beautiful day in economic data land. And I think financial markets need to understand that when you have supply side booms like we're creating under Trump's agenda, then that doesn't create inflation. It creates growth, but not inflation, because the more supply you have, the lower prices are.
Absolutely true. 100%. So we've got fantastic economic news flowing out of the latest economic data reports. Trump is absolutely winning. His economy is absolutely rolling. It is chugging down the tracks, picking up steam. The only thing that is even slightly holding it back, like a rubber band right now, is Jerome Trader Powell, who will not lower interest rates. Now, we may have to wait 8 months for him to leave office. Or if I was Trump, I would demand that Bondi indict him now on perjury. And as soon as the indictment is issued, I'd fire him. I'd fire his ass right away. Oh, you've been indicted? You're out. Gone. I now have cause to fire you and you're gone. And as soon as they lower those rates, this economy is going to slingshot forward because it is chugging forward with a big rubber band around it, holding it back. And the minute we cut those rates, that rubber band is going to get snapped and this train is going to go rocketing down the tracks. It's going to be amazing to watch. It's already amazing to watch compared to the Biden economy, which had stagnant growth, all based on foreign U.S. government jobs. There was no job growth outside of the U.S. government or outside of little part-time stuff for illegals. That economy was a train wreck with, at the highest point, 9.1% inflation. Now you've got Trump absolutely killing it. One more clip and then we're going to get into the actual numbers. Oh, sorry about that.
We've got a stronger than expected GDP number, 3% for the second quarter initial read. That's up from a 0.5% in the first quarter. 2.6% was what was forecast. Now we've got a
absolutely amazing. So here you've got Trump. His economy is killing it along with all of the tariffs, with everything that's going on. Here we go. Grew at 3.3%. With wages increasing 4.4%. That's double the rate of inflation, which was down at 2.1. This is a phenomenal economy. This is the basis, the foundation for an absolute rocket ship economy. You've got the Dow Jones climbing to new highs, but it's climbing there not based on quantitative easing or all this other nonsense. It's climbing there based on fundamentals. 3.3% GDP growth when everybody figured it would be in the twos. 2.1% inflation when all the media pundits said it was going to be huge, that Trump's tariffs were going to drive inflation. In the meantime, you've got 4.4% wage growth while we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariff revenue. And those companies overseas are eating the tariffs. Why? Because they realize they cannot do business without the U.S. market. They want to make a profit. They've got to be in the U.S. and they will do essentially whatever it takes to get in here. Because if they just raise the prices to the consumer, then they're going to get their lunch eaten by U.S. manufacturers. So in order to stay competitive, they'll eat the pricing, which allows a combination of price stability, but American companies can now begin to come to the forefront and build here, build now, or you get foreign investment coming in and building their factories here, employing American people. This is absolutely amazing stuff. Now, I've got two clips of Scott Jennings destroying CNN losers over the Trump economy. Trump is absolutely winning. This is really, really amazing stuff. And William Gromley, you are correct. The one thing, like I said, the one thing holding this economy back is the housing market, and that's being single-handedly destroyed, quote unquote, relatively by Powell and his idiotic fiscal policy. All right, let's go.
Just like to go, but I'd like to build a DeLorean and go back to April when everybody here was predicting likely to cause a recession. Investment stops and a recession happens. They're not talking about a U.S. recession. They're talking about a global recession. Lead to recession. Eventually, there being a reception.
Very cleverly. If he's chosen to pick my words,
I love Jennings. They were talking about a recession that turned into a reception. That's right. A big old party where everybody started coming to the table saying, okay, Trump, you win. We'll sign a trade deal. What do we need? Oh, you're going to pay us 15% tariffs. Open your markets to our companies at 0%. Oh, and you've got to invest in the U.S. Hundreds of billions of dollars. Japan, okay. Vietnam, okay. Cambodia, okay. Thailand, okay. The European Union, okay. They basically bent the knee. It's absolutely amazing.
You called the recession. You called it.
Germany.
You took your shoe off.
And Joe, oh, would you like to see that again?
You took your shoe off. You brought cookies out here.
15%.
You took your shoe off and you said there was going to be a recession.
Listen, Scott,
GDP is 3%.
Too early.
That's right. GDP at 3% is no recession. Bonehead.
To give a final verdict.
All right, Scott,
It's too early. Just a second, Abby. He's basically calling me out here. It's too early to give a final verdict on the tariffs. You may wish to, but at the moment, it can't be said what the long-term effect is going
Richard,
to be.
I am just a journalist, and all I can
Scott,
do is read the economic data.
It's a bit of a stretch.
3%
Scott,
GDP, trade deals, record high in the stock market,
come on, these trade
cooling
deals,
inflation.
these trade deals.
3% GDP, record high stock market, 4.4% wage growth, record trade deals. Trump has secured $15 trillion in foreign investment into the U.S. To put that in perspective, the current global market cap of Silicon Valley, essentially take every company in Silicon Valley, all the big ones, that are publicly traded. Their market cap is $9 trillion. You are essentially, Trump has already gotten commitments to add 2 separate Silicon Valleys, maybe not technology, but manufacturing and everything else. 2 separate Silicon Valley economies being planted in the U.S. as we speak.
Hold on a second. It's actually much simpler.
Garbage? Yes.
Hold on a second. It's much simpler than this. Just one sec, because I think it's super important to understand. Scott, what was happening in April of this year, 2025? What was happening then? What did the president announce on that week, the first week of April? What did he announce?
The president was implementing
his Scott?
Tariff agenda.
And what were those tariff levels?
And they were different for different countries.
Okay, so
but every single person predicted calamity. Calamity.
Scott,
Abby is such an idiot. She's now going to try to get in Jennings' face and somehow make some kind of idiotic point when she has absolutely no clue. Scott Jennings has the receipts. Trump's economy is rolling.
You can't skip steps here.
And
what were those tariff levels?
They were different. He had a chart.
Not just different. They were 2 to 3 times higher than the current tariff levels. Did those tariffs go?
That's right. They were different for every country, and they were 2 to 3 times higher than the current tariff levels. That was the whole point. That was the whole point, Abby. Donald Trump basically said, okay, you don't want to play ball with the United States? Fine. We are going to tariff you out of our market. You will not do business here because the tariffs will be so high. And the countries systematically said, oh no, that can't happen. What do we have to do? And now they're coming to the table in droves. And they are still signing up for tariffs, Abby, where there were none. We weren't charging European Union tariffs. Now they're getting charged 15% on everything, plus on strategic stuff like steel and other things, it's going to be 50%. And they're investing in the U.S. economy. And they're buying U.S. energy. And they're buying U.S. defense products to the tune of $2 trillion. That's what Trump is doing. Now check out Scott Jennings on a different occasion, had a similar argument with these complete buffoons at CNN. Check this out.
Scott offered one explanation for the highs in the stock market. There are other explanations. Here's one from Jason Furman, an economist. The macroeconomy is doing decently. He said, especially when it comes to tariffs, the market is now more confident that Trump will back off if necessary. He added, in April, I think the fear was that he would just plow ahead no matter what. Now there is a sense that there are realities that he won't try to blow past.
Exactly.
It's hard to argue, Scott, that that's not accurate when just this week, today, they're saying, oh, that 90-day deadline, we're just going to push it back out another 90 days. So the market's basically saying, oh, okay, they're just going to push it back.
Well, whatever it takes to say Donald Trump is wrong, I guess that's what people will do. Even today.
But genuinely, maybe you could argue that this is a negotiating tactic that is working, fine. But the truth is, Trump is in fact backing down, and the markets have calmed because of that.
Yeah, he's doing what he thinks he needs to do with individual situations. And look also what's happening with individual companies. We had reshoring announcements this week. General Electric in my home state of Kentucky decided to reshore a bunch of jobs. The CEO of General Electric said the current policy environment is why we're doing it. So they're bringing a whole bunch of jobs from overseas back to the United States. You have announcement after announcement after announcement on top of these great gains in the market. Look, maybe sometimes the answer is, hey, maybe it's working. Maybe it's working.
But it's not.
But if you tell me you're going to do 10 things.
What do you mean it's not? Who are these complete idiots? It's absolutely working. Just look at the economic data.
You do one of them and you keep claiming victory, and the other 9 are just
what
coming
about
down
the economy are you unhappy about today?
Me personally, because I could easily go into the
what about
another
the market?
bigger picture problem here.
Well, wait a minute. The market. Hold on one second. Just on the market. Wait a minute. When the market was plummeting, the market didn't matter. But today the market is good, so now it matters. And this is the double talk we're talking about. It's like the reason why people are hesitant to be like, yes, this is good, Donald Trump, because y'all don't do it either. People are not being honest brokers on these things. People who voted for Donald Trump as working class Americans are still struggling today as they were on November 5th. That is a fact. So
no, it is absolutely not a fact. Wage growth of 4.4%. You complete buffoon. Now, the argument that Abby was trying to make is, well, the only reason the market's up is because Trump keeps pushing the deadline out for the tariffs. Therefore, it's just a matter of the fact that the market is pricing in that he will just push the deadlines out. No. If the only thing that was up was the market, maybe you could make that argument, but that's not the case. First of all, we have made trade deals that now have permanent tariffs of 15 to 19%. All the trade deals are falling into a basic formula. You invest in the United States, you help reshore American jobs, and you pay 15 to 20% US market access fee, and you open your markets to us at 0%. And that's what every single trade deal is aligning to. Very similar to that. Now, the market is up for a lot of reasons. One, because yes, Trump has continually pushed the tariffs back, but we've gotten all of our major trade partners, almost all of them, are now paying tariffs. China is paying upwards of 55% tariffs. The EU is now at 15, Japan at 15, Indonesia at 19, Vietnam at 19. So you've got all those tariffs in place, but you've also got GDP growth, wage growth, low inflation. Everything is pointing to a rocketing economy. As soon as we get Jerome Powell out of the way and get rates coming down, I think you're going to see this economy absolutely lift off. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. We've got great news. Trump is winning, and DNI Tulsi Gabbard is exposing all of the grift and corruption and criminality, the treasonous sedition of the Obama and Clinton administrations and everything that they did to just try to destroy our country. And we got the Dems fighting amongst themselves. What a great world we live in today. Really appreciate everybody rolling up. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on those notifications. Even if you already did it a while ago, go check them. Let us know what you think in the comments. Most importantly, please share Courageous Media with everybody that you know. And if you'd like, hit that join button. Join us as a member of the Courageous Army help support the channel. Really appreciate everybody rolling up. Thanks for being here. God is good and he is sovereign. Till I catch you next time.